This question is really your expert level sector area question. It's also kind of your expert level arc length question. It's got everything, all the formulas you'll need in this unit are all in one question, which is pretty ambitious. So let's have a look at it here. It says to calculate the arc length of a sector that has an area of 165.8. Be careful here because sometimes people misread this here where it says calculate the arc length of a sector with area blah blah blah. This area here, sometimes people just look at the word area and they forget about a blah 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 and they think it just means area of the circle. No, it says a sector has this area. So this is a sector area, this piece of information here. We've got a sector area is 165.8 centimeters squared. And we also know that we've got a central angle of 108 degrees. So our central angle is 108 degrees. And it says make a diagram. So when you see a question say make a diagram, if you want full marks in that question on a test, you got to make a diagram. Otherwise, you're not doing what it says. So our diagram, I'm going to do something that was going to look a little better than my hand drawing here. I'm going to cheat and make a circle here like this. So this is a nicer diagram than you'd probably be able to do just freehand. And then it says, okay, I got to draw a sector. It's got a central angle of 108. 108, that's more than 90, so this is going to be a little bit more than a quarter circle. It would look something like this, right? So we got 108 degrees. It would be kind of like that, about that, okay? So this is our sector. And actually, let's fill it in with a nice vibrant color here. Let's give it a nice yellow color. Brighten up the screen a little bit. Springtime's coming. Okay, so this is our sector area, and we know that its area is 165. Oh yeah, if you're writing in yellow on yellow, then you can't see it very well. It's purple will show up nice in yellow, right? This will be very, very Easter-like. Okay, 165.8 is our sector area, 165.8 centimeters squared, and we've got a central angle here of 108 degrees. And we know this area, and we're asked to find the arc length. That's like the crust of the pizza. Okay, so I'm going to show you down here what our game plan is going to be, how this is going to work. We're actually going to start with that proportion where we have sector area over total area is equal to central angle over 360. We know the central angle in this question. We know the sector area in this question, so we're going to use these to find our area. Then since we're trying to get to arc length, right, we need to get circumference first before we can get arc length. So we're going to use the area once we get it. We don't have it yet. We're going to use it. We're going to use our area formula, pi r squared, and that's going to get us to find out what the radius of the circle is. Once you have the radius, you can use 2 pi r to find out what the circumference is. And if you know the circumference, and you also know from the question what the central angle is, then you're going to be able to use the circumference arc over circumference equals x over 360. You're going to fish method, and that way we're going to find the arc, which is what we're trying to find. So we're going to start all the way over here. We're going to pass through the radius, which is the magic gateway between whenever you're going from area to circumference or circumference to area. You're going to pass through here, and you're going to come out the other side. You're going to do a little proportion to find out what the arc is. Okay, so let's actually do it with numbers here. Let's make this work. We first said that we had to go and get our area of the circle, right? We've got our proportion that we're going to use. We have 360 degrees on the bottom right. We've got our central angle of 108 goes in the top right. And then we don't know what our area is yet, but we know our sector area is 165.8. So we're going to use this proportion. We're going to figure out what our area is by doing 165.8 times 360 divided by 108. So let's figure that out with the benefit of a calculator. 165.8 times 360 divided by 108 will give you your total area of the circle, which you can write as 552.67 centimeters squared. Now, since we had area, remember we know one of the other formulas in this unit that's big and important, area equals pi r squared. So if the area is this, I'm just going to write 552.67 equals pi r squared. I want to get r alone here. This is really just algebra. Get r alone first by getting rid of this coefficient. Pi is a coefficient, remember that. So let's divide both sides by pi here. And then you know that r squared is whatever's left after you divide both sides by pi. In this case, r squared is equal to 175.92 when I'm rounding to the nearest centimeter squared. So to find out what the actual radius is, you got to square root both sides, and you get that your radius is approximately equal to 13.26 centimeters. Okay, we got to the radius. Now we're kind of at the halfway point, right? We figured out the total area based on the sector area and the central angle. Once we had the area, we used pi r squared in that formula to find out what the radius is. Now with the radius, we're going to get to the circumference, because we know circumference equals 2 pi r, 2 times pi times the radius. So that's going to be equal to 2 times pi times 13.26. You get out your calculator, you say calculator, 13.26 times 2 times pi will give me my circumference, and you find out that the circumference equals 83.34 centimeters, approximately. Okay, but you're still not finished. 83.34 centimeters, right? That's all the way around the circle, but you don't want all the way around the circle. You just want the crust of this slice of pizza. You just want that arc length. So you say, let's use my 83.34 and let's put it in that other proportion, right? I got to put the arc length, which I don't know, over the circumference, which I do know, 83.34, is equal to the central angle, which I know is 108, over 360, like that. And then I do 83.34 times 108 divided by 360 to get my arc length. So that's going to be 83.34 in my calculator times 108 divided by 360, and I end up getting 25.00. If I've been keeping the correct numbers in my calculator the whole time, I get that the arc in this question is 25.00 centimeters, so I can just write it as 25 centimeters, and that is your final answer. That's the final boss question. You start off with sector area, use it to get area, use area to get radius, use radius to get circumference, and then use circumference to get arc. And if you can do this question, which I hope you can, because you have to at the end of this video, then you can successfully combine all of the important formulas in this unit. So in anticipation of that, congratulations.